Oh, no, I'm straight. We just stopped there. Thanks.
No.
The opinions expressed in this show are solely the opinions of the speaker and do not reflect the opinion of RFR or any affiliates.
Radio Free Radio. Radio Free Radio.
Radio Free Radio.
What is reality? Reality is what we believe to be true about the nature of our surroundings. But how do we come to decide that true nature? Do we conceive it completely on our own? Or do other devices gently sway our thoughts onto a pre-decided path? This is the hard question we must all ask ourselves as free humans on this planet. Who sculpts your reality?
Reality. Hey guys, it's Don, and it's Wednesday. You know what that means.
It's time for this week's Reality Brief.
We got a doozy for you tonight. We got some more PIZZAGATE info coming in, linking the PAX-2 gene. Pretty interesting.
The PAX-2 gene.
The PAX-2 gene.
It sounds like it ought to be a movie with like Kevin Spacey in it.
No doubt. We got we got more drama with Assange. Just what the hell is going on there? I mean, he's been missing since the 3rd. I've been calling it since at least the 17th. I mean, what do we got going on there? Also, Super Antarctica. We got stuff jumping off with Antarctica left and right.
How often do people really go to Antarctica for diplomatic engagements?
Yeah, or
it's kind of weird, isn't it?
Or
kind of far out.
Or, just to go. How often would you go to Antarctica just to go?
Personally, I'd go all the time because, I like the cold, I like the dark. So, I want to know where the Gould mothership is buried. So I'd hang out in Antarctica, especially if Guar's down there.
But first, we got a little bit of news for you. This is coming from the freethoughtproject.com, which is fake news for you guys out there who didn't know that. If it's not on TV, it's fake. So, Watchdog discovers toys are recording your conversations and uploading them to the internet, and then filling your computer with ads. No thanks.
Typically
When giving
go ahead.
I'm sorry. When giving gifts this holiday season, be strongly advised. Certain toys will upload your child's unique voice and personal information. The same military and law enforcement database which helps authorities identify criminals. So, you got that toy that, say your little girl is just begging for this doll, right? And it's so cute, it records what I say, and it brings it back all high-pitched. Well, hope it's not on when you're talking about your clandestine dealings in the Middle East. These toys, which could record any conversation occurring nearby and also fish for specific information from unwitting children,
Fisher Price, my first wiretap,
constitute the latest in surveillance by home appliances and gadgets, known collectively as the Internet of Things. Yes, you asked for it, you got it. The Internet of Things. Everything connected all the time, telling everyone everything always.
your blinds, your refrigerator, your microwave, your toaster, your washing machine. Why the hell do all of those things need to be online in the first place? Well, as the dead Kennedy said, folks, give me convenience or give me death. You want to be able to start your washing machine or adjust your house heat or anything else with your smartphone? Well, guess what, folks? All those things have to be on the internet for that to happen.
Guess what else?
Our
you know what's
mascot
gonna come out of that, man? It's gonna get hooked into Facebook, and it's gonna be like you're gonna open up your little Facebook on your little gadget, and you're gonna say, "Oh, look, Johnny's low on milk."
Ads for milk, fill your feed.
Oh, look what else he's got in the fridge over there. You know, it's a shame they don't eat right
Some
at all.
NOS. That's what our fridge has in it. That's right. The show brought to you by NOS.
So now this isn't the only example of this. We've also got sex toys. Digital sex toys, yes. That's right. You heard it. Sex toys spying on you.
Well, they've had that for a long time, plugs and gadgets and whatnot that you can control with your cell phone. So, like, let's say you and your girlfriend are out in public together. You can open up the Turkey Buzzer app and turn it all the way up to 10 and just watch her try to compose herself while she's sitting on the middle of the, on the afternoon train.
So here we
Some
got
people get off on that kind of thing.
Here we got new internet outrage. Smart sex toy sent company details of its use. So apparently this thing is just like what he was saying. Turn your phone on and it acts Bluetooth with it or whatever. And so it was gathering information. It didn't even had a web chat client built in there, a video chat. So it's gathering information on their use of this this toy here. So
how often do people screw themselves with their sex toys? Where do they do it? Do they have GPS built into it? Do they tell you where you are when you're using your sex toy? Because that could be pretty interesting.
Well, that would probably have to be gotten on the phone, I'm sure. We got, so now I know we all been hearing this, how Russia hacked the election, right? Mm-hmm. So, it's kind of going, they keep jumping.
Everybody that disagrees with me is a Russian hacker.
It's fake news. It's fake news, and they're Russian hackers.
If you're gonna go for fake news, folks, we hope you'll come to us first.
So it's funny because here's a little thing from Atlanta, Georgia, WSB-TV Atlanta 2. Georgia's Secretary of State says cyber attacks traced to DHS addresses. What's some Kremlin action, huh?
No flag like a false flag.
So, Georgia's Secretary of State office now confirms 10 separate cyber attacks on its network were all traced back to U.S. Department of Homeland Security addresses. In an exclusive interview, a visibly frustrated Secretary of State, Brian Kemp, confirmed the attacks of different levels on his agency's network over the last 10 months. He says they all trace back to DHS internet provider addresses. We're being told something that they think they haven't figured out. Yet nobody's really showed us how this happened, Kemp said. We need to know. Kemp told Channel 2's Aaron Diamant his office cybersecurity vendor discovered additional so-called vulnerability scans to his network firewall after a massive mid-November cyber attack triggered an internal investigation. The Secretary of State's office manages Georgia's elections, and most concerning for Kemp about the newly discovered scans is the timing. The first one happened on February 2nd, the day after Georgia's voter registration deadline. The next one took place just days before the SEC primary. Another occurred in May, the day before the general primary, and then 2 more took place in November, the day before and the day of the presidential election. It makes you wonder if somebody was trying to prove a point, Kemp said. Last week, the DHS confirmed the large November 15th attack traced back to a U.S. Customs and Border Protection internet gateway. But Kemp says the DHS story and its source keeps changing. So there you got the, now if you want to read more, if you want to read the rest of this, is WSBTV.com. It should be right up there in the front. Just came out today. So essentially, we false flagged ourselves and blamed it on the Russians For what end?
Oh no, they don't mean Georgia the state. They mean Georgia, former Soviet republic.
Yeah, we're not talking about. When I was talking about this with someone earlier, they were like, "Oh, you mean the country Georgia?" I'm like, "No, the state Georgia."
Yeah. Unfortunately, the joke runs the,
The
opposite
Department
way
of
this
Homeland Security was caught attacking the Georgia Secretary of State office on election day.
I heard the Russians are invading Georgia. I live 45 minutes outside of Savannah, but I don't see no tanks. Could somebody tell me what's going on?
Oh man, so there you go. There's your Russia. There's your Russia hack of the election. Then there's another article about how he's asking Trump for help. Which, yeah, good luck with that. While we're talking about the election, we've got voter fraud popping up in Michigan. Oh, thanks for the recount, guys. We've definitely found some voter fraud now, but is it a mystery why the Democratic Party isn't crying about this right now?
Well, I got to think it's pretty funny.
Is it a mystery why it's not being talked about on the real news? Is it a mystery?
You got to admit, it's pretty funny if they do this recount and it turns out that Trump actually whomped her harder than originally thought.
Dude, this thing, the fraud that they're finding is way more votes than people that showed up to vote.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because they're like, Russia hacked the election. Yeah, they hacked the physical boxes that the they hacked them things, man. They got good hackers. Them hackers is so good, they can hack your mailbox. And I'm not talking about your email box. I'm talking about your mailbox.
Your real mailbox.
So,
from orbit.
From orbit. From the moon base.
I thought it was the Nazis that had the moon base.
No, we share that jointly.
Oh, okay.
All right, so 20 polling places in Detroit. No, where is the oh, no. Anyway, here's the article for you guys. It's on Michigan Radio, which is part of the NPR digital network. So if you guys are worried about fake news, I don't think NPR is on the fake news
Not
list.
proper reporting.
I mean, so we'll see what happens with that. Probably nothing. You'll never hear about that again.
Mm-hmm.
Not unless we bring it up on the fake news.
Which we will. Over and over again.
So
we promise.
We got the feds raising the rates quarter.
Oh, boy.
What you think about that, man?
I'm guessing that they're hedging their bets, that they think that, with Trump in charge, we're going to make too much money, so they're going to try and, chip away at the edges a little bit, try and shave some of the silver off the sides if they can.
No, I guess the official explanation is to try and curb inflation because Obama did such a smack-up job. Yellen's been, and it's funny too. Another mandate.
So why did you switch to Degree Dry Spray? Oh man, because it keeps me really dry.
This show brought to you by Degree.
Oh,
it is kind of hot in here. Maybe I should be wearing Degree.
It's getting hot in here.
But I'm not taking off my clothes.
No, you can just put deodorant on, please.
Yeah.
All right. So, where was I, dude? Thank you.
Auditing polling places.
Auditing polling places. No, that's old.
Is that where we were?
Yep, that's where we were.
You did grandma voting Democrat?
Essentially, what's happening is they're finding they got way more votes cast than people who actually showed up to vote. And I would put it out there that the reason why the Democrats ain't crying over it is because it was probably them. It was in a heavy Democrat area.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what the official percentage is on it or whatever. Like, I believe it's like 70 or 80 to 1, So, like I said, we'll see what comes out of that, which is probably going to be nothing. And then the Fed, that's what we were talking about. The Fed raised the interest rate 0.25%.
Yeah, shaving the silver off the sides.
And they're also talking about raising it 3 more times next year. So I don't think it's probably necessarily the best idea. I don't know. They shouldn't be dicking with the economy like that anyway.
That's what they do.
Well, that's what they're there for, huh?
Yeah, that's their MO.
Oh man. So
and it'll never end. I mean, as long as they think that they can get away with it, they will. They'll keep doing it.
So we got a new study coming out to, I guess essentially proving that fracking contaminates drinking water. So people of Flint, Michigan, there you go. That's why your water's on fire.
But we need the government to protect the economy.
Yeah, and
or protect the environment.
We need to make sure that they got lots of guns so they can shoot the sky when it gets global warming. So,
yeah, what if chemtrails are just the government trying to beat the environment for getting warmer?
Now, it's an EPA study, and it's the final report on hydraulic fracking. And it's confirming that the drilling process indeed impacts drinking water under some circumstances.
No shit.
Yeah, I
How
mean,
about that?
all right, so let's take a look at this process of fracking. Now, they're shooting high pressurized water into these things to get the natural gas and stuff out. So they got all these chemicals and stuff that are in that water to aid the process. And the water doesn't come back out. The gas does. The water stays in the ground. So what do you think's going to happen to the water? It's going to eventually find its way into the water supply. So obviously, this is something we've all known. We didn't need the damn EPA final conclusion on it to know that that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, I understand why all these people are protesting at DAPL because fracking's a thing, man. Like, I've seen people set water coming out of their fucking taps on fire.
That doesn't have anything to do with fracking. Okay, that's a pipeline for moving oil. Now, the issue with that is the pipeline's leaking, so they wanted to build this pipeline right under that lake.
Yeah.
So the pipeline would leak into the lake.
Yeah, which is retarded.
And, it's not like these pipelines don't leak and they're crazy. Oh, that's all million to one.
Well, no, they leak all the time.
The damn pipelines leak all the time.
But it's still less environmentally hazardous than shipping oil over trains or boats. Or trucks.
If something crashes. I mean, it just depends, man. I mean,
we see tractor trailers, it seems like every day here in Hampton Roads. By the way, if you're listening and you drive in Hampton Roads, learn how to merge. But anyhow, yeah, in the last 3-4 couple days, there have been like tractor trailer accidents all over Hampton Roads. Maybe it's just winter, people drive like idiots, nobody knows how to merge. But this one I saw, some chick was in the right-hand lane, and like she drove onto the shoulder in an effort to avoid this truck, and whomp, done. The truck went skidding across the interstate, closed 4 lanes of traffic for hours.
That's crazy.
So,
that was a good story, Dan. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm sure everyone else appreciates that too.
It's
so
not
good.
hard. Zipper formation.
Okay.
Even if you don't live in Hampton
think
Roads,
that's,
learn how to fucking merge.
I think that's pretty much what we got for the news. I mean, what else we got going on? What's up with Kanye West hooking up with Trump?
Yeah, I was wondering what was up with that too. That seemed kind of weird. I mean, I think that's kind of how Trump won the election, because he's been milking celebrity culture for as long as he has.
True that.
You know what I mean? He knows how to culture jam. He knows how to do what he has to do. He knows how to get people to think his way. And unfortunately, that's how he won. Yeah, they thought he was going to be the fun guy. They thought he was going to be the guy who'd cut a deal with the world. They thought that he was the guy that would, they'd go with him rather than that old battle axe.
Well, he had to run it by Goldman Sachs first.
Yep.
And apparently they weren't happy with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
everybody thought he was going to be the boss, but he's a puppet just like the rest of them.
It's going to turn out, man, and it's going to be just like Bush 2. People are going to be like, oh, he's so great, when he's doing opposite of everything that you wanted him to do.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he's so different. He is an outsider. I mean, look, it's too early. I mean, I know it's the guys Goldman Sachs and Exxon, and it's just, but he's going to build the wall, I swear, and Mexico's going to pay for it.
Well, and then they're talking about this Scott Pruitt guy leading the EPA. It's just... It's like, look at the people who he's putting... it'd be one thing if he was putting these people there with the intent of abolishing these agencies, which would be awesome. But unfortunately, that's not the case.
You think Kanye's going to get a cabinet appointment?
That'd be pretty amusing.
He's gonna
Press secretary.
He's gonna make a whole new cabinet, man. He's gonna be the cabinet of shit music. He's gonna make Kanye West the head
Department of Cultured Rot.
Oh yes. So
Department of Sociological Pathology.
So just recently now, we've got all this crazy shit coming out about Antarctica.
Department of Gay
Well,
Fish?
before we get there, let's...
Do you like fish sticks,
I
Don?
like fish sticks in Antarctica. Do you like frozen fish sticks?
Oh, they love frozen fish sticks in Antarctica. And you know who else loves fish sticks? John Kerry.
John Kerry loves fish sticks.
Mm-hmm.
The Pope loves fish sticks.
What's it? Didn't you say the patriarch? Who's the patriarch again?
The patriarch.
Not the one from Mass
spiritual-
Effect.
He's
The real
essentially the
patriarch.
Pope of the Russian Orthodox Church. The patriarch. So...
And so why are all these... What's going on here? What?
What are you talking about? Yeah. First, let's talk about the shit going on with Assange. So we know Assange,
okay.
he's been missing for a while. And
Where in the world is Mr. Julian
where
Assange?
in the world is the whistleblower? So, Julian Assange, missing since October, right? I stumbled across this site today.
Finding
Actually, apparently it only came out.
FindingAssange.com?
Yeah, it's findingassange.com. I came across it yesterday.
And apparently
no,
we
today.
have 22 hours, 7 minutes, and 20 seconds approximately until shit gets real.
All right, so this is pretty much all it is right here. It says, hello and welcome to what was supposed to be a website about gathering and sharing information regarding Julian Assange's disappearance. The site was plagued with many problems that prevented it from ever launching to meet its true potential. However, its purpose has now changed. Given the recent actions by the Obama administration, Democratic Party, and the CIA creating and spreading a very false narrative of Russian interference in the U.S. election process, then this goes back to what we were talking about, how the Secretary of State of Georgia said that the Department of Homeland Security hacked him on Election Day several times on several different elections.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Those Russian hackers are so good they can bounce their
Yeah.
signal off an
They're
IP
so good,
inside of the Pentagon.
they can Mission Impossible
Oh.
into the Pentagon and hack it from the computers.
The
in there.
Pentagon or the Pentagon?
The Pentagon.
Yo, you know what I want to know? I remember hearing years ago about the Pentagon, how there was something like thousands of computers inside. There are thousands of computers that were found inside of the Pentagon that had child porn on them. So what's the connection between the Pentagon and PIZZAGATE? What's going on there?
I'm sure there's very deep connections.
How
So-
deep does it go?
All right, so let's continue on with this here. Creating with no evidence to back up its claims, as well as overwhelming evidence that points to their involvement in the capture, detainment, or death of Julian Assange, the time has now come to expose the truth. On December 15th at 6:30, 15,000 John Podesta emails never before released to the public, as well as the passwords to 2 of the WikiLeaks insurance files, will be published here for download.
Now I hear Phantom Spy.
Let this
Might
no.
know.
Let this sink in for a second. 2 passwords for the insurance files to WikiLeaks. Do you understand what that means? It's gonna hit the fan. This is the shit that was supposedly keeping him alive.
Yeah.
All right, so
If he's been missing,
it's pretty
So
evident
pretty-
that he's dead or captured. So
or at the very least, they've put a Gould parasite in
this
him.
site is purporting to have the keys, and they're gonna release them tomorrow at 6:30. 22 hours, 4 minutes, or 5 minutes. So a little background on this site. This is pretty much all I get. And like I said, I don't know if this is true, but if this is true, and it's going to be easy enough to check back tomorrow and see if it's true. I mean, that those insurance files went out through BitTorrent all over the world. So if this is true, and they don't take down the internet or something like that, you know, in 22 hours, maybe no one's going to have internet connection. It's going to be a
So if the
DDoS attack.
Yep. So if the internet is out all day tomorrow, folks, you know why.
All right, so with the release of this website as well as the information that is soon to be published, Many people are going to start asking questions. I'm going to take a minute to address a few questions, but will not follow up with anything more after this. The entire mission of this website, findingassange.com, started as a website to avoid the censorship of the mainstream platforms to allow people to gather and share information regarding Julian Assange's disappearance and everything that came with that, such as PIZZAGATE. The site was plagued with many problems that prevented its launch to what it was originally intended to be. As many are aware, Julian Assange has been missing since at least October 17th. WikiLeaks has been compromised, and the government propaganda news organizations such as CNN have created an entirely false narrative that Russia hacked or interfered with the U.S. election process, and now the CIA is backing up these ridiculous claims while under the head of no one other than John O. Brennan, who owes his entire career to the Democratic Party, Obama, and the Clintons. Has Iraq taught us nothing about what the CIA says? Now remember that.
You can't trust them.
Remember that.
They're liars.
For my Libby friends out
They
there.
make things up.
For my Libby friends out there, what did the CIA say about Iraq and weapons of mass destruction?
We found no
A
evidence.
Facebook group was created, Where is Julian Assange? From said group, a number of people involved started investigating heavily into all the details surrounding Assange's disappearance, as well as the information that was being tampered with on WikiLeaks' file system. During their investigation, they were able to extract 15,000 John Podesta emails that were never published, as well as discovered the passwords to 2 of the WikiLeaks insurance files when one member successfully broke into the email system used by the original members of WikiLeaks. The lead person running the investigation decided that they had found was too risky to release. If Assange was still alive and these were the only things keeping him alive, he surely would be killed, as well as had concerns for his own safety. They immediately stopped investigating any further after only having a chance to review less than 1/5 of the contents, and decided it was best to let the professional activists do what they do best to avoid becoming targets themselves by these very dangerous people. As time progressed, we reached the point where we are today. The U.S. government is continuing to engage in pushing this very false information, and the truth must be exposed. The lead member of the investigation from the Facebook group has decided to move forward with releasing all of the information uncovered, as if Assange was around, he would want nothing more than protect the safety of the people of the United States, but also the entire world from these dangerous, politically motivated actions these people are about to make on false information and the free spread of information under the freedom of the press. This brings us today to the very early morning of December the 13th, when this site is now live. Everything has been put in place to ensure the distribution of information is successful and that the world will soon know the truth of all the dirty actions of Obama administration and the Clintons and the rest of their group of elites. The information uncovered will be published here at findingassange.com for download, as well as emailed to 125 unbiased journalists' personal email addresses and another 50 media outlets, as well as copies of everything that have been provided to 15 activists to ensure its release. We as the people must stand up, speak out, and not let these inhumane, illegal actions continue. With that, I leave you with a quote from Thomas Jefferson: "A little rebellion now and then is a good thing."
You're goddamn right.
So yeah, that gets pretty wild there. It's getting. Also today, the Interior Minister, the Interior Minister of Iceland, he confirms that the FBI was the ones framing Assange for the rape case.
Mm-hmm.
And so essentially what happened was they bust in a bunch of FBI agents with the express intent on framing Assange for that rape stuff, and tried to get the Iceland government to work with them. And
says
they weren't expressly permitted by the government, so the minister was like, nah, he ordered everybody to quit working with him and to tell them to stop their activities in Iceland.
Well, it says here that Iceland's former Minister of the Interior, Ögmundur Jónasson, has made it remarkably clear how even from the start, Julian Assange never had much of a chance to escape the snare of the authorities, as he reveals how the FBI tried to frame Assange in Iceland many years ago. We've read now that Julian Assange has recently made public the statements to put forward to Swedish prosecutors which reveal his innocence with regard to rape allegations stemming from 2010. We've also learned was by large not the woman in question who wanted to bring Julian up on these charges, but the Swedish authorities. This makes perfect sense, especially in light of Jonassen's claims, which now show that the government of the United States was exceedingly keen to ensnare Julian Assange in order to stop his involvement with WikiLeaks and to end the organization altogether. So keen were they, in fact, that Iceland's former Minister of the Interior told Katoikos, the the EU news analysis website, that he refused point blank to help them trap Julian Assange. So it's not like it's really a big secret that the U.S. government was out to get Assange.
Right, no doubt. I got a little timeline here of the drama with this, and I remember on the 17th when we were doing that show, I was freaking out because all of it was just happening. So
the happenings
I pretty much called it at that point that it was done. It was compromised. And I remember talking to Phantom Spy about it. He's like, just relax. It's probably nothing. But no, the dude's gone.
Yeah. And, we knew, well, I think we were calling this out a while ago when we knew something was up with WikiLeaks. When we knew that WikiLeaks was compromised, we were putting that out right here on Reality Brief.
Yeah, like I said.
It was all over Twitter and Reddit that people who were, messaging WikiLeaks with encryption keys that,
but they
WikiLeaks responded with, were getting blocked on Twitter.
They weren't encryption keys, though. They were hash codes.
Ah, gotcha.
So they were confirmation. I can't believe I need to explain this to you again, man.
Well, you know what I mean. The hash codes, yeah. And the way it was, the people from WikiLeaks were supposed to send these hash codes, and it was supposed to check out that stuff was legit. And instead of getting any sort of get back, they were just getting blocked.
So, where in the world is Julian Assange? The WikiLeaks editor has not been seen in the Ecuadorian embassy window where he resides or made a verifiable live public appearance since October 3rd, 2016.
And as of now, it is 21 hours, 57 minutes, and approximately 10 seconds.
Since then, many events have transpired which call into question the legitimacy of WikiLeaks itself. No messages, and that goes back to that one with it when they were like, when that DDoS attack happened, and they were like calling out, they were saying that WikiLeaks supporters were, terrorists essentially. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
I remember.
I remember when WikiLeaks supporters was terrorists. I remember. So, WikiLeaks, no messages from Assange or WikiLeaks have been signed with a PGP, or pretty good privacy, signature for some time. PGP signatures, used heavily by WikiLeaks in the past, are essentially a unique key generated to an individual or organization, able to verify identities through digital communications. It's a simple and effective way to show proof of identity and proof of well-being. So this is similar to those hash codes. That's to show, that you got it. Okay, so this is to prove that you're who you are. Yet time and time again, WikiLeaks has refused the call from the public for Assange to sign something, anything, with a PGP signature. August 22nd, attempted break-in at the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where Assange resides, at 2:47 a.m. An unidentified man scaled the wall and window to the embassy and fled after being physically confronted by security. Ecuadorian police took over 2 hours to respond to the situation, despite their station being only a few minutes away. Also, they had the London police that are normally there leave that night. September, throughout the month, attempts to character assassinate Assange as a pedophile and a Russian spy were made. The attempts were unsuccessful, with WikiLeaks fighting against the claims, eventually releasing a background of the character assassination in October and documents proving a blackmail attempt on Assange. October 3rd, WikiLeaks on Twitter posted a tweet attributing Assange, saying he hopes to be publishing every week for the next 10 weeks. As of November 23rd, WikiLeaks has not published any leaks going on weeks.
Yeah, that's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, WikiLeaks has been very quiet lately.
In the morning, October 15th, in the morning, WikiLeaks releases Hillary Clinton's paid Goldman Sachs speeches. Afternoon, Pamela Anderson visits Assange at the Ecuadorian embassy. Right? And this is
Pamela
right around
Anderson?
the 17th. Yeah, dude.
Old Tits McGee from Baywatch? Wow.
Not the final line of the article. She then joked. He said, I tortured him with bringing him vegan food. A very odd choice of words considering everything that transpired in the days after. Notably, this day is the final tweet from @EmbassyCat, with Julian Assange's internet access being severed at 5 p.m. John Kerry, Secretary of State, lands in London on October 16th. Between 11 and 11:30, WikiLeaks releases 3 pre-commitments. Now, these are the codes that we were talking about when everybody was going apeshit saying that Assange was dead. John Kerry, Ecuador, UK FCO. WikiLeaks explains a pre-commitment as a strategy in which a party to a conflict uses a commitment device to strengthen its position by cutting off some of its options to make its threats more credible. Pre-commitment improves the credibility of a threat, either by imposing significant penalties on the threatening party for not following through or by making it impossible to not respond. As to the context of these WikiLeaks pre-commitments, we can only speculate. However, it's safe to say that the situation involved the U.S. Secretary of State, John Kerry, and Ecuador, where Assange was granted political asylum. So those pre-commitments to those specific files are saying, look, if you come and get me, here's your file, Ecuador, here's your file, UK FCO, and here's your file, John Kerry. See, I know you guys got them. You guys got copies. Here's the hashtag saying I got copies. Go ahead. On the 17th, WikiLeaks announces Assange internet was cut and that they have activated the appropriate contingency plans. I remember this.
Yep.
I've spoken with 14 other WikiLeaks task force members who have also experienced internet phone outage.
Yeah, I remember you were all like, it's happening, shit is hitting the fan, the Matrix is melting.
They've got out.
The veil is breaking loose.
Multiple U.S. sources tell us John Kerry asked Ecuador to stop Assange from publishing Clinton docs during farce peace negotiations. Ecuador admits to restricting Assange's communications over the U.S. election. Absolutely. October 21st. Oh, here's where it really jumped.
I remember
here's
that.
The next week, a week later.
Yeah, because we couldn't get on the friggin' internet.
No, this was right after that. A massive DDoS attack makes major internet platforms and services unavailable to large parts of North America and Europe. This is the largest DDoS attack on record. October 22nd, a bloody year for WikiLeaks. Now, wait a minute. Backing up a day, that's when WikiLeaks had that post that was like, oh, you guys are terrorists, our supporters, during that DDoS attack. A bloody year for WikiLeaks. John Jones, UN lawyer, died April 16, 2016. Michael Ratner, chief counsel, died May 11, 2016. McFadden, director, died October 23, 2016. So I guess you can add Assange to that list. WikiLeaks reflects that 3 of their staff have died in 2016 in such a short period of time. 23rd, WikiLeaks runs a poll on their Twitter concerning showing proof of life for Assange. The video option of the poll wins. Still, as of November 23rd, there have been no videos of Assange released. It's really as simple as recording a selfie holding up a current dated newspaper, but nothing has come. October 24th. Statement released from WikiLeaks on the status of Julian Assange, Ecuador, and the U.S. election. Notably, there is no PGP signature included in the statement. October 27th. After being announced on CISL's a technology convention in Argentina, scheduled as a speaker, Julian Assange phones in the convention, and on October 27th, WikiLeaks task force tweets reconfirming the validity of the appearance. The video from Assange talk is legit. It was scheduled some time ago. So, however, just like any of Assange's other public appearances since his internet was cut, website users have pointed out that the audio of his phone call is seemingly spliced together, and Assange says nothing relevant to prove that this is current. New audio ultimately fails as proof of life. October 30th, WikiLeaks tweets. We commence Phase 3 of our U.S. election coverage next week. You can contribute. However, WikiLeaks has been scarce on leaks through November, releasing only the second batch of leaked DNC emails. November 5th, John Pilger releases his interview with Julian Assange inside the Ecuadorian embassy. Pilger has asserted the validity of the interview, saying it took place inside the embassy on October 30th. However, both parties are not filmed together through the entire interview. And again, website users have made claims that Assange's audio is spliced and edited and that no relevant information was referenced to prove that this is a new interview. Snopes even delved into the matter, asserting that 2 different online articles used the interview with Assange and Amy Goodman, quoted it, and added fabricated dialogue. Snopes states that the interview itself was done by Pilger in August-September. Again, this interview also does not provide adequate proof of life for Assange either. November 13th. Pamela Anderson again visits the Ecuadorian embassy to see Assange. Though the article penned by Anderson herself is littered with pictures, none are recent or show Assange during her visit.
That's really weird.
WikiLeaks November 14th, WikiLeaks releases insurance files, and the SHA 256 hashes do not match up with the previous files tweeted in October. The hashes, used for identification when files were altered or changed, have little reason to change. In the window of the Ecuadorian embassy, Julian Assange's cat appears wearing a shirt, collar, and candy-striped tie.
What? I wonder if there's some kind of weird symbolism behind that.
God only knows.
Like some Templar shit with the red and the white.
November 15th. I was not in the room with Julian Assange myself, tells Jennifer Robinson, Assange's own lawyer. November 16th. WikiLeaks addresses the hashes not matching and again purports of Assange's well-being, stating, Julian appreciates the concern. If he did, he would let motherfucker know he's alive.
Yeah, right?
The most telling aspect of this entire situation is WikiLeaks' refusal to do something so simple. Showing proof of life is not a tedious, drawn-out procedure mirrored with complexities. It's as simple as having Assange sign off on a message with a PGP signature. It's as simple as snapping a picture of him holding up a currently dated newspaper. WikiLeaks has countless options to show proof of life, but so far have shown nothing. Update 11/20/2016. Julian Assange gave a live phone interview to FCM 16 Beirut on November 26, which can be listened to in full here. Notably, he referenced the death of Fidel Castro, meaning the interview was fresh and new, not old. However, with the interview being audio only and no video of Assange, it's hard to accept it as 100% definitive proof of life. This interview is certainly more than we had before, and it looks like Assange is, at the least, physically fine if he's able to give phone interviews. Question still lingers as why he hasn't signed anything with a PGP, the only way to put this entire messy debacle to rest.
You know what? That's bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that right there. Where about audio is proof of life. You remember that thing we were watching not too long ago where it was like Photoshop for audio? Like you could take a tiny sample of something that somebody says.
It's like 3 words someone says, and then you can have them say anything you want. It sounds like they just said it.
Yeah, like you could have somebody say, I like big butts.
Yeah.
And they could take that little sample and turn it out all to, I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny.
Yeah.
Just off of that one sample and adding in text.
It's the way they did it. It's just like, so like any layman could do it. You know what I mean? It's not like
you don't have to be
insane.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to be like, some super hacker from some shitty CBS
if they got an out-of-the-box bot that can do it with little effort, what do you think that something like the Central Intelligence Agency can do?
Whatever they want. And if this is publicly available to consumers now, that means that DARPA's been able to do this shit for like 40 years.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, yeah, that's why a voice isn't proof of life, because you can slap together anything in, Adobe, whatever it is these days that they're calling it.
Look, in the early 80s, that punk band Crass, they cut together some recordings, and they made it sound like Ronald Reagan
and Queen Elizabeth.
And Margaret Thatcher were talking about her bombing her own ships in the Falklands. And they sent it in, and they were freaking out. Like, intelligence was freaking out, man. The KGB was coming to them. Like, it was just insane, man. And, they had the whole government fooled, and they just cut it together in their little studio. Like, how did you get this? Like, it was real, you know what I mean?
And they were just freaking out.
Yeah, like,
that's
awesome. Funny.
Well, and that brings us around to where, if he's dead or if he's being held somewhere, where is Julian Assange now? Is he alive? Is he dead? They're saying that now, oh, boy. Where did they say that audio came from again?
Which audio?
The audio of his recent release talking about the Castro's death.
It was some interview. Where'd it go? I want to say it was like FCIO. Okay, so Julian Assange gave a lot note to FCM 16 Beirut. Yeah. So it sounds like a radio.
Yeah.
Maybe a radio
Beirut.
station.
Why Lebanon of all places?
Why in Lebanon too?
That is pretty weird.
He
Well,
typically didn't he?
Well, another article recently released by Inquisitor speculates that since Assange disappeared from public view, rumors have been circulating suggesting that he has been assassinated or renditioned to the U.S. by the CIA. There have been some odd occurrences at the Ecuadorian embassy. Firstly, British police officers were withdrawn from their 24-hour presence outside the embassy. Shortly after, the Mirror reported that an intruder had been disturbed. So, okay, we talked about that here on the show, the guy climbing up the side of the building. In October, WikiLeaks expressed concern that heavily armed police had surrounded the Ecuadorian embassy, where Assange had been granted asylum. That same day, London City Airport was closed and evacuated after a chemical incident. Rumors claim that these two events added up to Assange being illegally renditioned from London into U.S. custody, possibly at Gitmo, which is where, I'm hedging my bets. After these events, Assange and WikiLeaks were inundated with requests demanding that Assange give proof of life. WikiLeaks responded by telling people to stop asking Assange to prove that he was alive. Most people saw it as odd when Assange did not make a balcony appearance either on the day the UN made its illegal detention finding or on the anniversary of his detention. The release of a statement by Assange would seem to indicate that he is alive and well, but the statement was released on a Justice for Assange website rather than directly through WikiLeaks. The statement is not available on the WikiLeaks website, where the last statement from Assange was published on November 8th. The only facts about Assange's current whereabouts are that he has been unable to leave the Ecuadorian embassy by legal means. The Observer reported that both Sweden and the UK have indicated that they will defy the UN court ruling on Assange's detention. Despite the ruling, UK and Sweden, it seems that the UK and Sweden are both determined to see Assange in custody, and neither Assange nor WikiLeaks will be heartened by developments over the past few days. Over the weekend, this guy again, a former member of the Icelandic government claimed that the FBI tried to frame Assange. Ögmundur Jónasson said that the FBI sent a plane load of agents to Iceland in 2011 under the pretense that they were to prevent a cyber attack on the Icelandic government, which I'm sure would be, Who the hell cares about the Icelandic government, man? Come on. Jónasson claims that the FBI was seeking Iceland's cooperation in what I understand about as an operation set up to frame Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. Jónasson said he immediately told the FBI agents to leave the country. It's about time somebody had some balls. Maybe Iceland should go show the Swedes how to be Vikings again. Claims have also emerged in recent days linking Assange to the Clinton email scandal and the DNC leak. It has been suggested that Assange was a Russian agent. Everybody that disagrees with me is a Russian agent in collaboration with Putin to ensure that Trump won the election. Most people are aware that claims have emerged stating that the DNC leak was part of a Russian state-sponsored hacking attack, which, as we've already covered, those Russians must be pretty slick if they can Ocean's 11 into the Pentagon and do their hacking from there. Those guys are some bad motherfuckers.
Nah, man, they do it with Bluetooth.
Oh yeah,
they did it with Bluetooth.
They hacked the fridge in the in the Pentagon break room.
Yeah, man.
Did it through there, sent an SSH pipe through the toaster.
It's funny, man. Another note, just that one DDoS attack, the one on the 20-something. They said they did that with the Internet of Things.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Going through fridges and HVAC units and shit. Claims have also emerged in recent... On December 9th, a New York Times report said that the CIA had high confidence that covert Russian forces interfered with the 2016 presidential election with the ultimate aim of seeing Donald Trump in the White House. Those claims have been dismissed by WikiLeaks, Julian Assange's associates, and by President-elect Trump. People are asking why Assange doesn't simply make an appearance on the balcony of the Ecuadorian embassy to prove that he is alive and well. The simple act would stop the rumors in an instant. Which, is true. And, the whole voice thing, we are, again, you can Photoshop that pretty much. It's, the equivalent of Adobe Sound Booth.
Dude, that's just insanity, man.
I always love reading through these articles and checking the comment section. It's kind of funny. It seems like the real meta of things these days is that the only things that you can really believe are, Reddit, Twitter, memes, and comment sections. That's where you're going to find the real news, folks.
Now, these 15,000 emails that are about to come out tomorrow, you think, oh man, how much more Pizzagate material you think is going to be in there?
Well, probably a ton. And what I'm really interested in is seeing what the connection with this whole PAX2 gene thing is.
Well, we'll get to that in the next hour. we're gonna get into some more of the PIZZAGATE stuff, and yeah, we never really actually sat down and gave a nice primer on it. You know what I mean? We've always talked about it, assuming that everybody already knows most of the details. But tonight we're gonna do that a little bit, and we're also gonna get into some of this new information about linking the children with this PAX2 protein, and does it even link to Soros? I don't know. You tell me. But just to recap on the Assange thing.
Well, good.
So we've got Assange getting taken out last month. Not even last month, 2 months ago now. So he gets taken out 2 months ago, and they don't release the critical stuff. They stop releasing documents. The Twitter page and everything is riddled with spelling errors that, they don't do that. And then, so we got reports of armed guards or armed policemen coming in at a weird time. And we've also got when that guy tried to kill him, they sent the London police away. We've got the FBI getting the whistle blown on him for trying to frame him in the past by the Minister of the Interior for Iceland. And we've got still no confirmation that he's even alive or not in a secret CIA rendition camp, with Hillary Clinton poking a cattle prod in his face.
One of our viewers just recently made the comment, he wants to see when Donald Trump is going to set up the Department of Cross Burning.
Bing. Thanks. We've got the best ones, viewers.
We do.
So, okay, where am I? Now, with this PIZZAGATE thing, could this be? I mean, if this is all correct, everything with PIZZAGATE, it will totally blow the lid
off of some very weird shit, folks. Very weird.
The thing about it is the whole power structure is going to come tumbling down. Like, it's going to be great if that happens, and all these people get retribution. All these children that are being abused will be saved. I mean, I sound like a Trump supporter now, don't I?
No, well, yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, personally, like I said, I think Trump's still in on it.
Obviously.
There's pretty good evidence suggesting that Trump has been to Epstein's Pedo Bear Island. So, why am I supposed to think that he's been friends with the Clintons for 35 years? Why am I supposed to think that he's not part of the power structure, that he's not establishment, especially after seeing him? How many of his cabinet picks do you think have been to Epstein's Island?
Oh, man. That's a good question. Maybe
probably the whole lot of them. It'd probably be like a team-building exercise.
Maybe we should check into that for you guys.
I think we should.
So, lost my train of thought. I was thinking about PIZZAGATE and Julian Assange. Now, there's supposedly anonymous has videos of streams from Epstein's Island. So, is any of that involved in this? But more importantly...
And what happens when you go to YouTube and look up Pizza Underground? That ought to be fun.
Oh, crap. So we're gonna cut the break, guys, and we'll see you in a little bit. I'll get some music on there for you in a second.
Huh. And apparently there's something else that'll come up if you go out there and look for PIZZAGATE Tunnels DuPont Underground, too. Interesting. Interesting. Interesting.
second hour, talking about the PIZZAGATE in Antarctica. Are they connected to PIZZAGATE in Antarctica?
Very possibly so.
I guess we'll find out.
Perhaps they're storing genetic samples down in that hidden Nazi base down
So, PIZZAGATE
Pizzagate.
revisited
Pizzagate.
once again.
Pizzagate.
Now, PIZZAGATE started with the Podesta emails, right? They found there was a particularly increased rate of specific code words used in the pedophilia community. We showed you last week the picture of the girls eating the pizza. Turned out to be with the two journalists, the human traffickers.
What was special about those girls? What set them apart from other kids? Could they have been carrying a mysterious genetic marker?
So, the first thing that we haven't touched on yet is the abduction case that happened in 2007. Let me go ahead and pull up some of that for you. Now, there was this little girl that was abducted in Italy, I guess. May 3rd, May 7th, somewhere around there. And the descriptions of the people who abducted her looked really, really eerily similar to Podesta and his brother. I mean, like, down to minute details like placements of moles and things like that. I'm trying to... Here we go. See if I can find this here. No, that ain't it. Jeez, there's just so much of it. It's hard
It's
to
like,
find
where do we
any of
start,
it.
right?
I mean, like...
Let's start. Why is it called Pizzagate again, right?
Because pizza is a code word for it's in pedophilia circles. It
Right.
means
And
like,
then there's this pizza restaurant, this Comet Ping Pong place.
Now the guy that owns Comet Ping Pong is, said to he's GQ's 49th most influential person in DC. Been in the White House plenty of times. Hangs out with John Podesta. He's constantly. Not constantly, but he was putting photos out on his Instagram inside of John Podesta's house, including the eerie Jeffrey Dahmer sculpture, where how Jeffrey Dahmer would contort all his victims after he was done. Sculpture of that.
Sounds like a pretty sick dude.
So now the guy that owns the Comet Ping Pong is constantly putting up pictures of kids with just weird stuff, like talking about, like, that's $1 million face, and, things like, like just creepy things. So it turns out some people did some digging. The little girl that was abducted. Let me get that
Something
up there,
very special about these kids' eyes.
The little girl that was abducted. See this little thing right here in her eye?
Yeah.
So now this is an
Yo,
indication.
get out of here.
This is an indication of
Dude,
what?
in one of my eyes, I have a red stripe that comes down from the center of my iris and runs straight down.
Okay, so you've got this PAX gene mutation. So, or this PAX protein. So
I'm going to get kidnapped and molested.
This is one of the things.
God
Now,
damn.
this PAX2 protein influences, how your nervous system is created when you're growing, like how your brain forms and.
Well, it says
all
here
that.
about the PAX2 gene on this genecards.org website. It says, let's see, transcription factor that may have a role in kidney cell differentiation, links to a PubMed number, has a critical role in development of the urogenital tract, the eyes, and the central nervous system.
And if you read further in that, it's at genecards.org.
Yeah,
It
PAX2.
tells you that
It's a protein coding gene. Diseases associated with PAX2 include papillorenal syndrome and glomerulosclerosis, focal segmental 7. Amongst its related pathways are neural stem cell differentiation pathways and lineage-specific markers and embryonic and induced pluripotent stem cell differentiation and pathways and lineage-specific markers. I don't know what any of that shit means.
Listen. There's no point in even reading that. You're not going to understand any of that gene garbles.
No, what's
Essentially, it plays a role in the development of your nervous system, including your brain, and in 3 different segments.
And
in
your
brain,
junk.
right? And a side effect of this, among other things, is this little thing with your eye here. So now it comes out. Yeah, see, they're trying to link George Soros to this in some way, but we'll get to that later. Now, here's some more pictures
Wow,
of
that's
people. The Elephantatus guy, Jimmy Comet, on Instagram, and his associates posting the pictures of these kids, right? Close-up shots of their face, showing off that eye that has that particular disorder, right? Look at this one, the kid's sucking on money. Now, for those of you that haven't seen it, these, let me zoom in on this for you. Reading the comments on here. Adorable. I want one. Must have. Cuteness. Must have, right? And, you know, that could be nothing, right? And then,
Hotard? Jimmy Comet.
Hotard.
Joe
Hashtag
Willis.
Hotard. Okay, so this is implying a retarded hoe, obviously, about a 6-month-old child. Okay, let's check out the next one here. A child that takes after you, sucking on money, right? Loves spending euros. Haha, what? Loves being in Europe, spending euros. My money.
It comes up when you search Twitter for Hotard.
Right.
There's a lot of dumb shit that comes up, too. But
That's quite an expensive face.
and chicken lovers.
Just saying. And chicken lovers. Exactly. I mean, you know, it goes on and on. These are just a few illustrating the point with the eyes, with the particular PAX gene mutation. So,
Hashtag molesta.
what this guy here is putting forth is that now there have been several scientific studies saying that blood will help improve your health, like let you live longer, essentially. Like, the younger the blood, the better the effect. So, George Soros, I mean, is there a market for this particular strain of blood? I mean, it's got this protein marker in it.
Mm-hmm.
You
I
know what
wonder.
mean?
I
Like,
wonder if.
What does that do? I mean, it also says one of the benefits of it is something to do with how your kidneys clean, like, you know, where it would seem like it would have a life extending type effect to it. Look, I'm not saying that's what's happening. This guy that put this article together isn't saying that's what's happening. You know, it's just a weird coincidence. Now, this thing here with the children that he's selling, you know, this is definitely a strange coincidence here. Now, I think there is definitely something behind this. I don't know if it's a George Soros ring thing. You know, I don't know.
Well,
That's just speculation because he's got the same genetic marker. Now, I will say that this particular mutation only affects 0.22% of the population.
so it is very rare.
Very, very rare.
There's a reason they're looking for this. Well, I'm not sure if this connects at all, but get this. I just discovered an article from 2007, March 12th, 2007, by a guy named Antonis Diamataris. Mother of Chief of Staff to Bill Clinton, Podesta, dies at 89. It mentions she had 2 sons, but adopted another 25 people during the time she came to Washington, says her older son, Tony Podesta.
25 people.
Mm-hmm.
So, on the point I was talking about, we've got this here. The elixir of youth, plasma from the blood of young people, reverses the aging process. Research from the U.S. shows that mice who received human blood plasma from teenagers enjoyed better memory, faster speed, and improved brain function. The claim made by California-based research company Alkahest suggests that proteins in adolescent blood can actually rebuild damaged cells and U-turn age-related deterioration. Using donations from 18-year-olds, the researchers gave middle-aged mice 2 doses of human blood each week and monitored the reactions. Prior to the treatment, the mice aged as standard, showing reduced speed and diminished memory. But following 3 weeks of transfusions, that all changed, with the rodents developing new brain cells and exhibiting greater speed, agility, and reaction times. The study's author, Sakura Minami, said that her team had seen a rejuvenation effect on the mice, something which held promise for a possible human treatment, particularly those suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Young human plasma improves cognition, Minami told the Society for Neuroscience during their annual meeting in San Diego on Monday. New scientists note their memory was preserved. And it goes on, and you can read that at thesun.co.uk, and that is from November 18th, 2016. And this isn't something new. I mean, if you've been looking into this kind of stuff for a while now, you know that. I mean, look at what, I hate to bring it up because Dan doesn't like it, but, you know, the rabbis sucking the blood out of the foreskin. You know what I mean?
Hey, now, that never happened to me.
That's a thing. So, is there a particular reason why they do that? I mean, could it have something to do with this? I mean, it's not something that's not new. I mean, like, kings and queens.
Yeah, I always thought that shit was pretty weird, too.
Yeah, I mean, there's always been something mystical about children's blood used in ritual and occult stuff. You know what I mean? So, hell, maybe there's something behind it other than, you know, what they would believe with the occult.
Welp. This popped up on a vote too. It was submitted by a guy named deleted by user, and it's voat.co
Yeah, that's
/v/Pizzagate. And this guy says, yeah, before I present the photo to you, here's a brief background. Someone suggested that very wealthy political figures are interested in the blood of children because they think it allows them to live longer.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, where do you go? I mean, we've been, you know, there have been plenty of allegations of Hillary Clinton sucking the blood out of babies for a long time, but this is pretty damning. And who exactly was Madeleine McCann again?
Madeleine McCann was the little girl that was abducted in Italy, allegedly by John Podesta and his brother, believe it or not. So that's what I was looking for here a second ago, which was the picture of the suspects. It's just insane because it is down to the minute detail of mole placement and everything. It looks just like them, like both of them. And his secretaries were handling his work at the office, and he wasn't able to be contacted during those time periods.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, and it says here that here's some other people who seem to have the same extraordinary condition in the right eye. Some on the left, some very distinct, and some on the smaller, thinner side. Can someone with access to adequate software zoom in and create conditions to detect these more clearly? And they give links to Andrew Sorkin, Jeb Bush, Bush Sr., Henry Kissinger, Jacob Rothschild, and Dianne Feinstein.
So if you take a look there,
apparently all have this PAX 2.
Right. If you take a look there on the screen, you'll see the actual police scripts. The police suspect drawings, and Tony and his brother, John.
You'll also learn one simple trick to remove eye bags.
I mean, look, you cannot dispute that looks very much like them, just like this guy says. That looks just like them guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's the girl, again, that was abducted, May 3rd, 2007. It happened. She went missing.
Yeah.
See, look, here's what I was saying, the minute details. Mole placement, indentions from eyeglasses.
Mm-hmm.
Mole placement.
God damn, I reckon.
So, his emails in WikiLeaks. Now, this is the thing. Those 15,000 emails that are supposed to come out tomorrow, they may be what this is. Because, look, John Podesta's emails were wiped or are missing from the WikiLeaks release leading up to the date that McCann was missing. This cannot be disputed and is verified by Google authenticated email leaks released by WikiLeaks. Here's a screenshot showing one of the earliest emails from WikiLeaks. Note the date of May 4th, 2007. And then it goes on to say that the emails on that day were handled by his secretary. Which, if you've been through the WikiLeaks Podesta emails, you'll see that he does his own emailing, like, all the time. So, what would it be that, you know?
Well, let's see. This article said, there's an article here, Society for Neuroscience, saying that young human plasma improves cognition. This is coming from...
Yeah, that was the same study that we were just talking about.
Yeah. Sakura Minami and Alcalast.
All right.
Yeah.
And also we got Tony Podesta, been friends with Dennis Hastert. documented pedophile for many years.
Mm-hmm.
So he used to run
Yeah,
Japan with him all the time looking
Yeah,
for
he got
girls.
popped. I wonder how many times Hastert went to Epstein's Island. Probably a bunch.
Tony Podesta has children's stuffed animals next to his bed, despite reports of him not having any children of his own.
What a fucking
What a
perv.
fucking fruitcake. Right next to a box of tissues and a bottle of lotion.
Nasty
What the
motherfucker.
fuck? What the fuck? So, then it's saying, fact number 8, despite viral reports of Podestas being involved in the child's abduction, neither brother has provided empirical proof of their location during the week surrounding McCann's abduction.
You know, you ever heard of a thing called Kuru, Don?
Kuru? No.
Kuru.
Enlighten me.
Kuru is a disease that is known to the people of Polynesia and Africa and other realms of the world where cannibalism is rampant. And there have been some pictures recently that I've seen popped up. One of the main symptoms of Kuru is a big, weird, green, nasty sore in the middle of your tongue. And I've seen pictures of Hillary Clinton with a big, weird, nasty sore right in the middle of her tongue.
Always got to go there.
Go to Google Images, look up Hillary Clinton Kuru sore. It'll come up. You want a mind fuck. There you go.
Okay. I'm going to talk about this for a little bit here. It's pretty interesting because it goes into a bunch of updates and things leading up to now. But, so this is DCPizzagate.wordpress. Okay, I've created this blog to share the information Anonymous has collectively gathered and researched about a suspected pedophilia and human trafficking ring that we seem to have uncovered existing within our DC politicians and the elite class. It all started with one incredibly suspicious Podesta email that had skeptics suggesting they weren't actually talking about pizza, but rather in code. Here it is. Did you leave a handkerchief? I think it has a map that seems pizza related. Is it yours? Okay, so in the pedophilia code, the pizza is the child sex aspect. Map is supposed to mean semen. And handkerchief is pretty interesting because in these practices with
Jesus
this
Christ.
weird occult shit, like, okay, there's the child getting raped, right? And see the handkerchief? Well, that's supposedly collecting blood and whatever else as like a trophy type
For
thing.
spirit cooking, you.
Yeah, for spirit cooking, exactly. You know that chick is 70?
Yeah.
What?
Well, she looks pretty young for 70. I mean, hey, maybe they're onto something. Sick bastards.
Okay. So if it's not speaking in code, it makes absolutely no sense. Not a single person has able been offered a coherent explanation on what this could actually mean if pizza and map related. Not to mention this disturbing coincidence. Grand Tam and the Luzettes. With enormous gratitude to the Vance Man Extraordinaire Hardware, I am popping up again to share our excitement about the reprise of our gang's visits to the farm in Lovettsville. And I thought, that's in Virginia, and I thought I'd share a couple more notes. We plan to heat the pool, so swim is a possibility. Bonnie will be Uber service to transport Ruby, Emerson, Mauve, 11, 9, and almost 7. So you'll have some further entertainment, and they will be in that pool for sure. I read the headline above on the website's Evie's Cribs blog. Evelyn is growing up soon. She will soon be the queen of the entire US of A. Right now, for a limited time only, you can spend some time with her online, raw and uncut. Take advantage of this now, if as in the future, she will have the power of life and death over you. Fucking barf. Update 1212. This blog is now viewable by invitation only. Archive version, Evie's Crib. The bottom emails from John Podesta's email dump of WikiLeaks and speaks of children in pools as further entertainment. The women are pictured above. Grand Tam, Pharma L, served as chief of staff to Hillary Clinton and now works at Pew Charitable Trust. According to Tamara Luzida's work history, edit 1981 documentary Boys for Sale references child prostitution and trafficking as the farm circuit. For those still not convinced there's a code being used, here's a few more examples, although this is not even close to exhaustive coverage. It really isn't. I'm dreaming about your hot dog stand in Hawaii. Obama flies in 65,000 worth of pizzas and hot dogs from Chicago for a private White House event. Does that make any sense? Really? You're going to fly in $65,000. You can't even have outside food in the White House. It's forbidden. It's a security risk.
Yeah. God damn.
Do you think I'll do better playing dominoes on cheese than on pasta? So it goes into the, what the code of it is. Oh, no, it just shows the link. In other Podesta emails, a pizza joint called Comet Ping Pong Pizza is referenced multiple times. You can find this at WikiLeaks Podesta search Comet. All right, this is where it starts to get weird, and I will try to bring in the only most relevant evidence. John Podesta is Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, and he served as a counselor to Obama. He acted as chief of staff to Bill Clinton. He's not an elected official, but he has real influence in American politics. In the emails you will read, this Comet Ping Pong seems to be a hot spot, serving as a fundraiser location for both Obama and Hillary Clinton. Why would they choose a pizza joint supposedly kid-friendly, with the main attraction being ping pong tables? First suspicious activity is merely its location. Check out the unclassified FBI pedophilia symbology. This is boy lover, girl lover, child lover. This is from the FBI. This is what the FBI says that these pedophiles' symbols are. Take that for what you will. Comet Pizza is located across the street from Beyond Borders, which says on its website it works to end child slavery and violence against girls.
Get the fuck out of here. In Haiti.
In
and it's
Haiti.
A subsidiary of the Clinton
Haiti.
God.
And it's a subsidiary of the
Come
Clinton
on, man.
Foundation?
No wonder somebody went down there. They
Oh,
should have
my.
brought a can of gas with them.
Oh
Jesus.
my. Confirmation of these facts can be found by visiting the website Beyond Borders. Now, I want to remind you again, this is dcpizzagate.wordpress.com. You can check out any of these links. We're just going to quickly skim through this here. Weird, but proves nothing.
Man, come on.
All right, so look. Let's take a look at the symbology scene. All
Hey,
right, make your own pizza.
Don't get Baphomet involved in this, okay?
I know,
Come on.
but really.
Leave
I mean,
Baphomet out of this. He has
could be-
nothing to do with this.
It is symbolism for that. All right, so now let's look at Best of Pizza symbol. 2 stores down from Comet and owned by former DOJ employee Andrew Klein of the Human Trafficking Unit. I mean, come on, guys.
Jesus. The
Of the
jokes
hu-
just write themselves, folks.
A
The
position he
jokes
was
just
appointed
write
to by
themselves.
a position he was appointed to by who? Bill Clinton. Oh my.
You know what? We thought tonight was going to be a rotten show, but because honestly, we haven't had a whole lot of time to prepare. It's been a crazy week out there, folks. But let me tell you, this is a show that people actually should be listening to because this shit is blowing my goddamn mind.
Please refer back to known pedophile symbology. This one is so blatantly obvious, it's disgusting. But anyone could say that this is all just speculation. Update 1110, Besta has changed their logo. So, Besta Pizza. There you go. See that there, right there? Now let's take a look at this.
Molesta Besta.
Oh, yeah, that.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, that. All right, so
On the bright side, if you're trying to jump some pedos, maybe that's a good way to do it. Yeah.
let's look across the street.
Use one of their symbols and then.
Let's look across the street from Comet at the Terrasol Bistro and Artesian Gallery. It's 2 stores away from Clinton's Beyond Borders. This was found on their website. Oh, look, it's Clinton. Oh, what is that? Oh my.
Is it a big hand touching a little hand?
It's a big hand touching a little hand with a little heart inside of a big heart. So let's take a look again. Let's just see here.
Ah, there you go.
Little heart inside of little heart. Or big heart. Okay. Terrasol has removed the double heart. Same as Besta. Yeah, no doubt. Okay. So I know everything continues to just be speculation. Now it's going to take a turn for the ugly. Viewer discretion is advised. Yeah. Okay, so this is where we get to Elephantis and his Twitter posts and things like that. Okay, so he was rated by GQ as one of the 50 most powerful people in D.C., the owner of a children's pizza place, huh? Okay, his username, Jimmy Comet, is the ex-lover of Correcta Records' David Brock, a pro-Hillary supporter pack which has gone on record stating it funds millions of dollars for online trolls to confront anyone talking negatively about Hillary Clinton on social media such as Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, Twitter, and yes, even 4chan. We happen to find his Instagram And this is when it gets started to get very disturbing.
Your trolls mean nothing with the power of Kek on our side. Nobody can out-troll us.
Update 11.8, the Jimmy Comet account has been made private, but it seems James BTFO doesn't understand how the internet works. Here's the archive version.
But
So we're going to get to some highlights here. Now, here is the statue that is in Podesta's house. Now, this is the contorted Jeffrey Dahmer statue. We see a unique Jeffrey Dahmer-inspired sculpture posted on James' Instagram. It's important because the owner of this one-of-a-kind piece is none other than Tony Podesta. All right, see, look, here's an article about when he had it put in, and he's saying, oh, yeah, you know, I don't think it's ever going to go anywhere. It's so big, we had to support the floor. We had to put extra bracings. We had to support the floor where it was going to be moved over to come in. And there's the Dahmer contortion.
Sick. But pay your taxes, folks.
Tony mentions in a different article one of his favorite artists is Biljana Durjevic. Here's a quick look at some of her art. If this woman wasn't a victim, I will eat my own shoe. Material copyright. Visit her website if you want to have nightmares and suffer PTSD from paintings. Okay, there we go.
So it's basically the Neverland Ranch version of Saw.
It's worth a reference to look at Kim Noble's art, who is known for suffering satanic ritual abuse, and her personality is permanently splintered into different entities.
Jeez.
Now, this is something like Savali, the old Illuminati whistleblower cultic thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, you know, it's crazy. I remember a friend of mine, their mom told me about this thing years and years and years ago. There are all these kids that said that they'd been abducted and were victims of this worldwide underground satanic child abuse ring. And then another story came out saying that, all those memories are false. All those memories were planted by, psychologists trying to make money. But I guess that's not really true. Maybe this shit really did happen.
And you know, it does splinter you into multiple personalities. I mean, this
Yeah,
all
you
goes
bet.
back to MK Ultra type stuff, and it's proven that that's what they do when they brainwash you. They break your
They break your
psyche into
to
separate
control you
parts.
out.
It's no different with this occultism. So, in this painting, you can see 5 adults standing in what looks like to be a pentagram. Below the child being raped, there is a handkerchief, and this appears in multiple of King's paintings. So there's the handkerchief reference. Apparently, the handkerchiefs are put under the child to collect blood, semen as a token or map. Where else have we heard about a handkerchief with a map recently?
Well, I know where I've heard about plenty of maps. Antarctica.
Yeah, and
And speaking of which, wasn't there John Kerry was in on this whole thing, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
On the spirit, so I wonder if they do spirit cooking ceremonies in Antarctica. It's a good question, huh? Maybe Epstein's Island ain't so secure no more. They got to go a little further out of the way.
So, I mean, I really suggest that you guys go to dcpizzagate.wordpress.com and check this out for yourself. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Like, literally, for this to be all just silly coincidences, I mean, I can't. I just can't. So
This is truly horrifying.
it is. But, see, it's the same satanic ring, if you will. I mean, what the hell, man? I just can't even. All right, so recently we've had all this new hubbub about Antarctica. We see some papers in the UK publishing some stories about a possible link to Atlantis. They both came out the same day. Lost city of Antarctica. Shock claims massive civilization exists miles beneath the ice. Now, if you're sitting here listening to the show, it's probably not a big surprise to you.
From the Carnegie Institute in Washington, D.C.
You know, we've been talking about this kind of thing for a while now, and I always figured that there was some kind of ancient stuff under there. So the icy mass, measuring over 14 million kilometers squared, has long been a source of great mystery and was the last continent of the world to be discovered. But its freezing temperatures and barren landscape have stopped people from attempting to colonize it, so it has remained virtually untouched over the years. However, this may not actually be the case. Now, this is an artistic rendition here. This isn't.
Yeah, not a photo.
Yeah, that's
but
not.
If you guys have been listening to our show for any amount of time, then you probably know about how we've talked about possibly the possibility that the Nazis fled to Antarctica after the war and set up shop in bases under the ice. So it should come as no surprise to find out that the powers that be, the New World Order, the Illuminati, call them what you will, the rich and powerful bastards who run this world are setting up shop there now as well.
Well, here's the thing. There's stuff already there that's been there for 60,000 years or so, or maybe even more. So now, that being said, we've got two cases of that particular story coming out in English mainstream. Now, it's interesting because David Wilcock and Corey Goode, the self-proclaimed keepers of the secret space program knowledge, they put out this really, really extensive article dealing with this same exact thing. How did that wrong link get pressed? I'm sorry, guys. But it came out before, right? And what they're getting at is they're saying that all the stuff they've been talking about the alliance and disclosure, that they want to try and drop out the Antarctica stuff and reveal that there's an ancient progenitor race. Okay? Now, listen, this is a lot to swallow here.
Sounds like some Stargate shit, but
It does. All right, so here's the thing. This all hinges on there being some type of either event with Mars in the past.
Some sort of crustal displacement, saying
Or-
that Antarctica, large parts of
no,
Antarctica were free, ice-free 12,000 years ago.
Stop. That's not it. This all hinges on either something with Mars in the past or a planet that was in the asteroid belt. That was an asteroid belt. Right? Some kind of disaster. And
Which I don't think there ever was.
races were displaced and came here and set up shop, and which is what we know now as the Anunnaki.
Yeah, Atlantis.
Right. But what they did was they came here and they took over stuff that was already here from, millions of years ago of a progenitor race that were actually like giants. And,
the actual Anunnaki that were supposedly they were like the big white guys from Prometheus.
No, the Anunnaki are this other race. They are larger, pot-bellied. But think about King Tut. The elongated skull.
Mm-hmm. Well, that could have been head binding too, though.
Yeah, I don't think so in that particular case, but that's a whole nother issue that we're not going to get into right now. The elongated skull in all the artworks and in Samaria.
Mm-hmm.
So the Anunnaki being separate from the giants. It's two different things. The Anunnaki come much later in the timeline. So they essentially cannibalize their ship or whatever and other bases that are already existing there for millions of years, and they set up shop down there, and then whatever this flash freeze was froze them in place, kind of similar to Pompeii.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they're saying is now they're going to let us know about this and to kind of like put the brakes on this PIZZAGATE shit. Because think about it. If all of a sudden they come out and they say that shit's real, that's all anybody's ever going to talk and think about for a while.
Yeah, people are going to try to forget about PIZZAGATE for a little while, and that'll give them enough time to, do whatever they think they can to save themselves from being hung from the nearest light pole.
So, now in that world, supposedly there's an alliance, and I've mentioned this before, there's an alliance between defectors of different levels of the secret space program, be it the ICC, the corporation one, the low-level military space program, and they're all working together to kind of defeat the people in control of all this shit, because it's a really evil system. If the things that these people that are coming forward and say they have experienced is true, these people are the very definition of evil. I mean, like, it's just crazy what these people's stories. I mean, it's unbelievable. But, you know, a child sex ring at the highest levels of government is unbelievable, right? But, you know.
Well, I mean, it honestly, I think it's totally believable because power corrupts, and so it makes sense that the most powerful people in the world who have absolute power are going to be absolutely fucking corrupted.
So now, when we think about secret societies, you know, we think about, oh, the Illuminati, ooh, but really it all stems from way back when, ancient knowledge, all coming up through the Templars, right, who gained knowledge during the Crusades, right? They gained Gnostic knowledge during the Crusades, and then they carried that forward in through the Freemasons because that's what they had to turn into after they got persecuted by the Pope and the King of France. Right?
Yeah.
So, but that knowledge, that Gnostic knowledge, is older, right? So all of this stuff, basically occultism as we know it, is like their teachings, but they've been perverted and they've been taken and used for personal gain and kept from the population. Like,
Ancient secrets of the universe.
Essentially, you know, this exactly the ancient secrets of the universe.
Personally, you know what I think the ultimate secret of the universe is?
42.
No. That it's all pointless.
You're such a nihilist guy.
And that pointlessness sets me free. Because the point can be whatever I think it ought to be.
Right. You sculpt your own reality.
Yes. And the reality of others here on Reality Brief. So what I want to know about sculpting some reality, Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty reports, U.S. top diplomat Kerry flying to Antarctica during presidential vote. This is dated November 5th.
So, I mean, this kind of goes along with what I was explaining now.
U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry will fly to Antarctica next week while Americans vote for a new president.
Now, here's a connection that you may not put together in the past, Stan. Okay, you know Skull and Bones.
Yeah.
Right? You know what's their thing? Skull and Crossbones 322.
Skull, Crossbones 322.
Right. Okay. Now, did you know that the Templars were pirates?
Yeah. That's where the Skull
the
and
Jolly
Bones
Ranchers, the Skull and Bones. So there's a direct link also, and outside of Freemasonry, because you see these Scottish Rite Freemasons with their scarves, and man, there's Templar symbolism all over that. Skull and Bones, all that. So
yeah,
John Kerry,
Skull and Bones
322. Okay, making a surprise trip to Antarctica on Election Day.
It must be pretty fucking important if he's doing it on
Election Day, right?
I mean, granted, I want to be as far away from America on Election Day as possible too. But that's
all right. Who else recently went there? Buzz Aldrin, right?
Very true.
He goes to Antarctica, right? Has to be evacuated because they say he got ill. Who knows what happened? But what we do know is he got back and he tweeted, "God help us all. It's the definition of evil," and which got removed, right? Oh, we are in danger.
We are all in danger. It is evil itself.
It is evil itself, and then deleted.
Well, hang on. And Snopes looks like they're trying to whitewash it. So
obviously, Snopes is going to whitewash it. So,
but NPR reports, December 1st, 2016, Buzz Aldrin is medically evacuated from Antarctica.
Who else went there? Now, the patriarch of the oligarch religion, the Orthodox religion in Russia. He's essentially the Russian Pope. He met with the Pope in Havana, right? And then the very next day, hopped on a plane and went to Antarctica and supposedly did some strange-ass ritual in a church there. There's, like, apparently some church in Antarctica. So the supposition is that these people are kind of getting the VIP tour first. You know what I mean? Like, Secretary Kerry, come and check out the damn thing. You know what I mean? It's like Illuminati Disneyland, as I think David Wilcock put it.
Yeah, here's what Snopes says in their whitewash. It says, claim, astronaut Buzz Aldrin sent a tweet claiming that humanity itself was in danger, and then a mysterious it was evil itself. Example. Then they linked to a thing from before it's news. It's been said that he sent this tweet. Origin. Conspiracy website Superstation 95 published a post reporting that the 86-year-old tweeted that. So it looks like there's a big picture of a big triangular mountain that has been that I think we've actually noticed this here on Reality Brief too a couple times looking around in Antarctica. And he said, and there's a screenshot of it, and it says, "Yeah, we are all in danger. It is evil itself." And then at Sloan, Slone, what did Buzz Aldrin mean when he said, "We mean," and why did he delete his tweet? And then there's, a link to Google Images view of the mountain. So Snopes says it's fake. And it says the first tweet did not have a time, date, share count, number of replies, number of favorites, or number of retweets. All could be used to determine whether Twitter's archive backed the claims made by the sites. Additional irregularities existed in the background. Display of Aldrin's account. Suspect tweet didn't display in the same manner it did in our screenshot. So... yeah, and then I see Secure Team reporting it, so I'm really skeptical of anything coming from Secure Team. And apparently this isn't the first time some weird stuff attributed to Buzz Aldrin has come out from Superstation 95. And, I am typically really suspicious of any source like that that has, like, Secure Team 10, Superstation 95, fucking Ice Station 0, whatever, all kinds of shit that I've seen out there. And, yeah, a lot of it does seem like it's fucking bunk rumor mills. But Snopes itself is a bunk rumor mill.
Yeah.
So, it's really hard to see where the real truth comes down on this. Buzz Aldrin on Twitter at @TheRealBuzz. Official statement about Buzz and his evacuation at the North Pole. He's recovering in New Zealand. Full statement. And it's buzzaldrin.com/south-pole-news. And there is no mention of evil itself. So...
all right, so what else we got? They found a new species of you remember Vostok? All right, so there's this lake in Antarctica that's under a mile of ice and hasn't seen surface air in millions of years. And back in 12, they decided they were going to drill down into it and check out what the water was like. So they found all kinds of new organisms, essentially, right? And they found one that's only got 86 similarity in genes. 86%. So it's almost completely alien, you know what I mean? 86%.
Yeah, that is pretty weird.
So, there's speculation that could give credence of life on other planets in our solar system because of the same conditions.
Well, apparently there is. These guys just say that there's a pyramid located not far from Belgium's Princess Elizabeth Station at the South Pole, which we've actually been able to find on Google Maps a couple times.
Yep. Along with
there are two pyramids.
Skull Mountain.
Yeah, I remember
Skull Mountain.
Skull Mountain.
Skull Mountain was bad. So also in Antarctica news, I mean, it's just been Antarctica news one after another, man. I really do feel like we may be getting some type of disclosure out of this, man.
Well, that'd be pretty rad.
So, there's a giant crack forming in Antarctica, miles long, and it's threatening to break off a giant piece.
Wonderful.
Right. Well, it happened before.
This happens pretty often, actually.
It happens kind of frequently. I mean, this is a pretty big piece. I mean, you're not talking about any type of massive water displacer or anything like that. Right? It's not like all the ice at the caps are melting and we're going up 7 meters. It's not like that. But that being said, you guys, are you familiar with Edgar Cayce?
What about Edgar Cayce?
So, just a little background on that while I pull all this other stuff up. Edgar Cayce, he ended up coming down here to the beach, Virginia Beach, which is not far from the secret undisclosed location, and setting up shop there. So essentially, he would put himself into a sleep-like trance state and give readings. Now, these readings would be anything from how to cure a particular medical condition to readings about Atlantis. Atlantis was a big thing with Edgar Casey. Future predictions, so I guess he explained it as essentially connecting to the Akashic record, which is something similar to a group mind, a group memory storage type thing, like a library type deal. So, like, all
you got to do to get there is freebase some DMT.
So apparently his pineal gland was producing that shit like mad. So he's got all these readings and all these things, and he come up with all kinds of cures for all kinds of shit, and he never remembered any of it. It was all written down. So he's got this prediction about this, and I found a funny YouTube video that's is one of them robot voice videos.
Oh boy.
But it's good. It's good, so we don't have to trip on that. But I'm going to go ahead and play that for you guys and see what you think.
Wow, the rift in that ice
Edgar
shelf
Casey. The Earth will be broken up in many places. The early portion will see a change in the physical aspect of the west coast of America. There will appear open waters in the northern portions of Greenland. There will be seen new lands of the Caribbean Sea. South America will be shaken from the uppermost portion to the end, and in the Antarctic off Tierra del Fuego will be land, and a strait with rushing waters. When there is first the breaking up of some conditions in the South Sea and those as apparent as the sinking or rising of that which is almost opposite it, or in the Mediterranean, and the Etna area, then we may know it has begun. Scientist monitoring a gigantic crack in one of the world's great ice shelves in Larsen Sea in Antarctica. Larsen Sea is only slightly smaller than Scotland according to researchers, and is entirely covered by ice that is floating in deep ocean waters. The crack in the ice is both expansive and deep, measuring some 70 miles long and 300 feet wide. Once the crack spreads across the entire ice shelf, it will produce an iceberg roughly the size of the state of Delaware at over 2,400 miles. The progression of which has been continuously monitored by scientists. From 2011 to 2015, the crack grew 30 kilometers, and was 200 meters wide by 2015. Between March and August 2016, the rift grew another 22 kilometers and widened to 350 meters, according to Project Midas, a research collaboration funded by the British Antarctic Survey. With the full length of the rift now at 130 kilometers, researchers predict a big chunk, about 10% of the ice shelf, is going to break off very soon. The partial loss of Larsen Sea will not itself raise sea levels. But ice being held back by the shelf may flow faster into the sea and contribute to its global rise, reports the Washington Post.
What if they just use
If
really
such a
big bungee
gigantic
cords?
part of Antarctica breaks off and water levels around the world will rise, what could be the impact for some countries? A recent study says we can expect the oceans to rise between 0.8 and 2 meters, enough to swamp many of the cities along the U.S.
No big loss.
East Coast, reports ECOH. A complete meltdown of the Greenland ice sheet, push sea level rise to 7 meters, enough to submerge London.
That's a complete meltdown of the ice on the sheet. I mean, that's not just a little chunk falling off.
I guess just to be on the safe side, man.
The sky's not falling.
I hear there's a lot of cool shit going on in Richmond right now. Maybe we should go buy up some waterfront property in Matthews.
Now, interestingly enough, while we're talking about Edgar Casey, he actually picked that location in Virginia Beach to build his hospital where the museum thing is, the foundation, because he felt that that particular area was safe from this.
So the peninsula might still be boned.
Right. And, we are kind of high. It never floods over here. I mean, 7 meters... 7
meters is like 35 feet,
Yeah. Yeah. I think we'd be
21
hurting.
feet.
We'd be hurting.
Yeah, wait, 21 feet, yeah.
Yeah, but how far in, too? I don't know, man.
I mean,
Pretty far,
it's
I guess.
probably not good.
Hop in your car and get driving, dude. We'll speed it up. All right, so where was I now? Antarctica. Okay, so linking up back to the secret space program. At first, they thought this was caused by a meteor strike, right? And then when the researchers got there, they were like, oh, no, it's darker colored ice, allowing it to absorb more sunlight, which caused the melting, right? So I'm almost wondering, like, a while back, several months ago, the intel coming out of that world was that there was some type of mass-scale battle that had happened in Antarctica, similar to Stargate, right?
Yeah.
But recently.
Recently?
Right.
Like post-high jump?
Like, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
like, no. But you're not, it's
How
not
recently?
us. It's not, it wasn't the U.S. military battling space Nazis. It was the elements inside of the alliance, the secret space program alliance, what I was talking about earlier with the different groups, the breakaway guys that are fighting against that and pushing for the disclosure or whatever. They were trying to prevent certain elements from the cabal or the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, from escaping. And there was mass battle. It was Dark Fleet ships, the teardrop ones.
Yeah.
And
So maybe there really are rifts between the different factions.
Oh, there definitely is, man. A lot of them, it's just like with anything else involving a government. The secret government is even worse. I mean, the left hand definitely doesn't know what the right hand is doing. You know what I'm saying? The index finger don't know what the pointer finger is doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like on the same hand. It's just ridiculous. It's so compartmentalized, and they all think that they're the highest. They have the highest bit of knowledge, when there's always someone else above them that knows more, that has involved in more things. But
even the system lords answer to somebody.
Yep, exactly. So
Apophis.
we're gonna have to get more into this next week, unfortunately, because we are out of time.
Indeed.
Stick around, guys, on Radio Free Radio for The Great Show,
Thanks
the
for
comedy
listening
hour.
And tuning in and getting your reality brief this week with us on Reality Brief.
See you next week, guys.